For this presentation, we're going to examine the current practices at the DAEP as well as best practices that could be used to improve the curriculum and instruction and positive outcomes of students at the program. The DAEP currently serves grades 9 through 12 in Southwest Independent School District. We have a very diverse student population with a variety of academic and socioeconomical needs that lead to the disparity among both academics and behavior. The mission is behavior modification, as well as academic achievement and student growth potential. The program does participate in all accountability and improvement processes in the district, and our leadership focuses on preparing students for success in life. The school context includes a rapidly changing demographic of students that require responsive instructional practices in order to manage both their academics and their behavior. We have diverse learners of multilingual and economically disadvantaged backgrounds, and our students do require a little extra attention in order to be successful. Our teachers have to balance rigorous standards with the individualized student supports that are needed in order to manage their behavior and their learning. And the expectations from the district emphasize both achievement as well as continuous improvement, both academically and behaviorally. So our leadership has to align resources, instruction, and school culture in order to meet these needs. Having a look at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for our school, our strengths are really in the dedicated instructional staff that we have, the strong identity that our students bring from their home campuses, and the supportive district leadership that is placed at the campus to help manage the academics and the behavior of the kids. The weaknesses are in inconsistent instruction and the limited use of formative assessments. Our opportunities are the expanding of PLCs and collaboration among our teachers and staff, as well as the increased potential for instructional coaching. The threats identified was teacher turnover, which is far too great. Almost yearly we lose teachers, and the academic achievement gaps and accountability that are found within the students. There are a number of elements that directly influence school improvement. 6 of them include curriculum and instruction, research-based instructional strategies, expectations for students, teachers, and the community, summative and formative data-driven decision-making, administrative and teacher leadership, and professional development. All of these things will be covered in a moment in subsequent slides. Curriculum and instruction influences the students at the DAEP, first in aligning the curriculum with the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, or the TEKS. Second, we also deliver a rigorous and engaging curriculum that is student-centered. We try to ensure instructional consistency across all of our classrooms, even though our classrooms are blended and 6 through 12. We differentiate our learning within our classrooms to meet the diverse needs of all of our students, whether they be 504 students, students with special needs, or students who are disadvantaged. And finally, we monitor curriculum effectiveness to improve the achievement outcomes of our students using a variety of different methods that include district common assessments as well as our own internal assessments. At the DAEP, we use a number of research-based instructional strategies to support learning. First, we utilize evidence-based instruction that is supported by research. Second, our student engagement is accomplished through collaborative learning experiences. We also differentiate our instruction for special populations using proven teaching strategies, including those for 504 students and students with special needs and students who are bilingual emergent. We also utilize frequent formative assessments that are provided by both the school district and our campus as well. And we improve instructional effectiveness through coaching and reflective practices coming both from the administration as well as more experienced teachers that can coach some of our less experienced teachers that join our campus throughout the school year. The DAEP also has high expectations for our students, our teachers, and our parents. We establish these high expectations and provide achievement and modification for student behavior in order to improve positive outcomes. The goal here is to help them return to their home campuses and be productive students that don't return to the alternative school. We have a culture of professionalism, and this includes continuous growth both academically and behaviorally. We also encourage meaningful partnerships both between our schools, home campus, and the DAEP, and between the parents with both of those entities. We also promote shared responsibility amongst both the home campus and the DAEP and the parents for our students' success and positive outcomes. We also look for positive cultural, including trust, accountability, and collaboration between all three of these different factors. The DAEP also uses summative and formative data-driven decision making in order to create positive outcomes for our students. We use formative assessments that are provided by the district as well as our in-house created assessments to monitor our students' learning as well as their behavior. We analyze these summative assessments and the results are used to evaluate the effectiveness of our programs. We identify learning gaps using these assessments, and we try to provide timely interventions in order to improve our curriculum and our instruction that teachers are delivering to the students. We use collaborative data analysis to guide our instructional planning, and continuous improvement is found through evidence-based decision-making processes at our school. At the DAEP, our administrative and teacher leadership promotes a shared leadership model across all levels of the school. We support our teachers with instructional coaching and through collaborative decision making. We also develop leadership capacity among our faculty members, and we currently have 2 that are in administrative programs. One just graduated recently with his master's degree in educational leadership, and another is just going into a program for educational leadership. We also focus on developing PLCs and deciding how student achievement and behavior is influenced by our programs, giving us an opportunity to modify and adjust as we go along. We also build a culture of accountability with our students and our parents, and this leads to continuous improvements, not only with academics, but with behavior as well. At our DAEP, professional development is provided both from the district as well as through in-house locally developed programs. We provide ongoing professional learning opportunities for our teachers as well as our administrators. We align professional development with campus improvement goals provided from the district as well as our in-house decision making. We encourage collaboration through our development of PLC meetings. We strengthen instructional practices with coaching and mentoring in mind, and evaluate our professional learning to ensure that it is providing a meaningful implementation and positive experiences for our students as well as our teachers. When examining best practices utilized at the DAEP, four of the main influencing practices include maintaining consistent instructional systems, both with our teachers and our students, providing PLCs that support continuous improvements in behavior and academics, having instruction that's guided with ongoing formative assessments, and these come both from the district, home campuses, as well as formative assessments that we develop in-house. And finally, evidence that we collect that drives our instructional decision-making practices. Of the 6 elements that were presented in this project, the first that I would consider as critical for improvement is research-based instructional strategies. This was selected as a priority for improving classroom effectiveness. At the DAEP, consistency across classrooms remains a challenge, partly because our students come from grades 6 through 12, as well as from 11 different campuses. And as a result, we have a wide variety of students who are challenging when they arrive at our campus, both academically and behaviorally. Also, effective schools provide instructional coaching and collaboration to improve on these factors, both academic factors and behavioral factors. There's a greater instructional alignment needed campus-wide, and this includes from 6 through 12 and among all of our teachers, as well as when taking into consideration our students and the variety of needs that they come to our school with. Our teacher experience and the instructional expertise that they have varies greatly. Some of our teachers are placed with us, coming from other campuses, and a lot of these teachers have struggled recently with their not only instructional methods, but behavioral expectations as well. And finally, we struggle with a high turnover. The teachers at our campus typically don't stay for very long, and they're replaced fairly quickly from our district's human resources department. We typically, as leaders at the DAEP, don't get to choose our teachers. They're placed there. In fact, this coming school year for 26-27, we found out recently we're losing 3 teachers, which are going to be replaced at some point in time in the next 2 weeks. With this in mind, the factors that influence the school include students that vary in their infractions. They're placed for a wide variety of both mandatory and discretionary infractions, and these affect how the students behave and affect their academics. Our teachers have trouble with blended classrooms because we do service grades 6 through 12. We do not break them out into grade level groups. Our leaders have little time to coach and model for our teachers, and the district provides very little support as the program is the DAEP. The community support is minimal, and parents usually fight the placements, and the process is really bound ultimately by what I would call the discipline tradition. In other words, we expect that we're going to provide a traditional disciplinary setting for our students. That's not very progressive. The second critical area for improvement is data-driven decision-making. Here, this was selected due to its impact on instructional improvements. And at the DAEP right now, student progress requires frequent monitoring, and our best practices really promote the continuous assessment cycle. Collaboration and data analysis can be used to improve instructional decisions, and our teachers have varying levels of data literacy when it comes to providing these to our students. The district assessments that are provided also require a lot of instructional time, and this takes away from some of the positive outcomes that the students could be benefiting from. With these in mind, the strategies that would improve practices would be increasing instructional coaching within the campus, expanding collaborative lesson planning times, and utilizing classroom walkthrough feedback more effectively. We could also strengthen our PLC times, and the communication between the home campus and the DAEP really needs to improve. Also, increasing formative assessment trainings with our teachers and staff, and as well as developing campus-wide data protocols would help to implement these things with our students more effectively. At the DAEP, there are a number of leadership challenges taking place. First is resistance to instructional change, mostly from teachers, but a little bit including the students as well. Second, maintaining teacher engagement in the classrooms, as a lot of our teachers struggle with both content delivery as well as managing student behavior. There's a limited time and there's a limited availability of resources for our program, as well as sustaining improvement initiatives that are provided not only by our leadership but by the district as a whole. We also need a little assistance in balancing accountability. This is across all levels, including with the teachers, the students, the administrators, and between our home campus and our program. And finally, improving district support for the DAEP. I want to take a moment to thank you for spending the time watching this presentation. I hope you learned something about our DAEP and its procedures and protocols. If you have any questions, please let me know and I will try to answer them as best as I can.